been a lot of happenings in the news, and I'm on ChannelOneNews.com. And first story, election 2024. Vote for me. I won't lie to you. Mahama to Ghanaians. Pardon me. I think I'm...
Interesting. Let me just take viewers also through the citynewsroom.com. Some big headline stories on the news portal. This one coming in from the president. He says, I reject completely that Ghana was founded by one man. That's coming in from the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Also, the vice president and MPP presidential candidate for the 2024 election, Dr. Bawumia, is also in the news as he pledges to train 1 million youth in digital skills to combat unemployment. Interesting. Also, moving on the campaign trail, Samia Uku targets 70% votes in Ekuapem North. Quite an interesting ambition. Former President Mahama also backs plan to create a new region from the Upper East region. There's got a lot of people talking about the feasibility and the relevance or the necessity of it. We'll bring our viewers some excerpts of that story shortly. Okay. Also, Oti River claims life of a ferry repair staff in Dambai. Ambulance case, Ghana would have been richer if the Attorney General had accepted $2.7 million refund. That's coming in from NDC Director of Conflict Resolution, Abraham Amaleba. And finally, Ghana is moving into the digitalization era, not a confirmed era. What the headline? Wow, I mean, he's really some guy, right? He will always give you that soundbite. So interesting coming in from the vice president, MPP presidential candidate, as he says, Ghana is moving into the digitalization era and not the confirmed era.
Let me do Channel One News again. Ghana wasn't founded by one man. I reject that notion. Akufo-Addo there. Bawumia reiterates commitment to introduce flat rate duty at ports. Electric vehicles will cut transport fares by 40%. That's according to Bawumia. Ambulance case, we've always known that Forsen's acquittal was imminent. That's according to Amaleba. And will totally lay down tools August 6th. That's according to the Allied Health Professionals. Do you have graphic?
Yes, I have the graphic.com.gh online news portal. As President Akufo-Addo is also here. President Akufo-Addo rejects single founder claim. That's also on the front. The main portal page of the graphiconline.com. Bawumia also commissions ICT labs and distributes resources to educational institutions in Ekuapem North. George Graham Smith, I'm determined to pursue appeal against BOG after the central bank raised issues about his election as a board chair of the UMB Bank. Bawumia also in there on the campaign trail in the campaign already brought excerpts of that story. Mahama Ayariga on why new region named Kusau is necessary in the Boku area. Wow. So already the followers of the former president justifying calls by the president on the campaign, the former president on the campaign trail with regards to creating a new region. Court rejects a Aflao Central Hospital plea for transfer of case. And 20 million defamation case. Esiedun Ketia attends event despite medical excuse. And also here, emotional journey marks Emancipation Day. African in diaspora urged to invest in homeland. And finally, vote the NDC to reverse hardship. And this is coming in from their running mate, Professor Jane Nana Opoku Ajema. And any excerpts of the stories so far you have for us?
Yeah, let's start with Nanado. He gave his Founders Day message to Ghanaians last night. And the headline here on ChannelOneNews.com says, Ghana wasn't founded by one man. I reject that notion, Akufo-Addo says. So President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has dismissed the idea that Ghana's independence was achieved by the efforts of just one individual. In his Founders Day address, the president emphasized his disagreement with the belief that Kwame Nkrumah alone was responsible for Ghana's founding. I speak to you this evening rejecting completely the notion that Ghana was founded by one man. While Kwame Nkrumah's contribution to our independence are undeniable, it is important to acknowledge for ourselves that respect that the struggle for our nation's freedom was a collective effort spanning several generations, the president said in his broadcast. He argued that groups including Joseph Casely Hayford and Thomas Hutton Mills, British West African Nation Congress, and several others contributed to Ghana's freedom and subsequent independence. He says the formation of the Aborigines' Rights Protection, the British West African Nation Congress, the United Gold Coast Convention, the work of countless unsung heroes, and the tenacious spirit of our people all played vital parts in bringing us to freedom and independence. Kwame Nkrumah, with his charismatic visionary leadership, was undoubtedly a major actor in the final lap of our journey to independence. And that is why, despite the several unfortunate things that happened after independence under his watch, Parliament in 2019 decided to memorialize his date of birth as Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Day, the only Ghanaian so far to be so honored in our history. And that's what the president is saying. He says, finally, in 2019, Parliament passed a law establishing August 4 as Founders' Day to honor the collective efforts of those who contributed to Ghana's independence struggle, while designating September 21 as Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Day. That's what our president is saying, that it was a collective effort. It was not just one man who founded Ghana.
I mean, I've listened to the president. I listened to the president's public address yesterday, commemorating the day. I mean, and its sentiments he shared over and over again.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not
if
the first time
you
he's
followed
mentioned
him, he said it quite often, and I wasn't really surprised at all. But I don't even think followers of Nkrumah or Nkrumahist go around saying that Nkrumah alone or single-handedly founded the country. I don't even think that's been their argument. Their stance really in all of this is that he was sort of the arrowhead. He was the mainstay in pushing for independence. And I don't even think that is deniable. The president, even in his address, mentioned the fact that indeed our former president, Kwame Nkrumah, was really the main guy in pushing for. So I think we should really let this matter lie, right? Yeah, I think there's consensus that a lot of, it wasn't an individual effort, it was a collective effort, right? Yeah. All through school, that's what we've been taught. That is why we have the big six. But among the big six, one had to stand out, right? And I mean, if you go through history again, it looks like, or it's quite clear, or evidently clear, that one person was Kwame Nkrumah. So yeah. I think both sides are right? The president, like I said, also mentioned that, yeah, it's true. It was a collective effort, not an individual effort, even though the charisma, then the president used that word, the charisma of Nkrumah stood out. So, yeah, but of course, you have, because of its political nature, right, and the kinds of sentiments it evokes, you get people putting all kinds of spin on it. But I think history is quite clear, and I think we should allow this matter to rest. But on to some tragic news, because in the Oti River, or in the Oti region, the Oti River has claimed a life of a ferry repair staff in Dambai. Tragic story. Excerpts of it read, a staff in charge of fixing the broken down ferry in Dambai has met his untimely death after drowning while fixing the ferry. Assembly member of the Dambai Central Assembly, Charles Ewurani, who recounted the incident to ChannelOne News, said the ferry got stuck in the middle of the Oti River, prompting the deceased and other staff to enter the river to fix the damage. The deceased unfortunately drowned while fixing the ferry. The assembly member, however, called for a permanent solution to the problems of the ferry. He's quoted as saying the incident occurred around 3 p.m. yesterday, that was Friday, 1st August, when the ferry carrying the goods and passengers got stuck after an engine failure. The engineers decided to check, and the fault was detected, so 2 of the staff decided to go and fix the fault underwater. And unfortunately, that led to the loss of the life of the staff who was trying to fix the ferry. So unfortunate. I mean, it's always sad when somebody has to lose their life in line of their work, right? And the concern or the big question is whether all safety protocols were adhered to when he was going about his duty of trying to repair the ferry. And for me, it's so unfortunate.
I actually had a friend of mine, a mutual friend that we know, who was at the site at the particular time. He was also trying to cross, but so he saw everything live and colored, yeah. And he describes it as, so he says that the yam that you people are waiting for is stuck here. because someone, the ferry has broken down. Someone tried to go and repair it, and unfortunately, he's lost his life. So the prices, we should expect the prices of yams to continue rising. And it touched me because people have to go through so much so that the nation can eat, and we're not even applauding them or giving them simple basic things. There's only one ferry, so if that one is broken down, then they have to wait for whatever
because the
repair
point
works
is
need
that
to be done on
why
it.
will you go underwater to
I
fix the
feel
ferry?
like he's done it before.
Impromptu. Yeah, but it doesn't still make it right, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make it right, but I'm sure he's done it before and it
weren't
worked.
at the scene, but the concerns or the genuine questions to ask is whether or not all safety protocols were adhered to, right?
I doubt.
So, I mean, and we have a history of really not enforcing all of these safety protocols. So for me, I think it's tragic, it's unfortunate, it's very sad that we've lost a life when he was trying to rather be of help, right, in line of his work, and commiserations with the family, and may his soul rest in peace.
There's another story here. Electric vehicles will cut transport fares by 40%. That's according to Vice President Baumia, flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party. A bit of that story, it's on ChannelOneNews.com. A bit of that story says, flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahama Baumia, has announced that the cost of public transportation will be decreased by at least 40% before the December elections with the introduction of electric vehicles for public transportation. And they had a walk in Ekropong, and he revealed that the country will shift from dependence on diesel, gas, and petrol to electric vehicles for public transportation. And if I quite remember, we've actually reviewed a similar story here before where we said, is the infrastructure ready? Are the roads ready? Is everything like put in place, ready to start this electric vehicle thing? I have not seen one. Have you seen any charging ports in Ghana? I haven't seen one.
Okay, so there's one charging port. I think one of these big OMCs tried to pull up a charging spot, spot, and I came across it. It was quite impressive. But yeah, your concern is legitimate.
Yeah.
How many of them are in town? From the data we have from the Ghana Automotive Company, I mean, the state agency responsible for our automobile policy, we understand that some 17,000 electric vehicles are in town. Will you believe it? 17,000.
17,000?
Yeah, and you know the funny thing, 2 days ago I saw a Tesla in town.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I
can imagine your excitement.
Yeah, because, I mean, why not? Who doesn't love a little luxury, a little comfort? Didn't hurt anyone. So, yeah, the same question you're asking today kept going through my mind. Is the infrastructure in place to ensure that we are able to jump on this market? If you listen to experts or industry leaders within the space, they'll tell you clearly not. I mean, you mentioned the state of our roads. You mentioned even the technical expertise, right? So do we have enough brain power, enough technicians, right? Mechanics, or what we call fitters. Well, you can't use a fitter to go and check an Elon Musk's
an electric
Tesla.
vehicle.
Exactly. So the expertise, right? All of these are very important conversations we need to have.
This is all before December.
It's also important we state that there are amazing people within the space doing so well, right? I could go on and on and on. Because of my experience of hosting the Total Energies Auto Show on CTFM, I've been, getting a lot more data and information on our electric vehicle preparedness or readiness. But the truth is that we are still nowhere close, right? So a lot more will have to be done. The state of roads, the technical expertise, all of these are very important conversations that
needs to be
needs to be had. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The former president, right, John Mahama, is in the news again, and he is talking about plans to create a new region. And this story is on the citynewsroom.com online portal.
Region.
Exactly. After
16,
can you imagine?
16
so, and let me just bring US access to the story because the thing is, Charlie is playing with my mind already. So Mahama backs plan to create new region from the Upper East region, right? So John Dramani Mahama, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, has announced plans to create a new region from the Upper East region if elected. During a visit to the Bokuna Best Palace in the Upper East region, Mahama revealed that a proposal has been submitted to the Speaker of Parliament through the Member of Parliament for Boku, Mahama Ayariga. Mahama argued that the new region would be addressing pressing issues like the ongoing security crisis in the Boku area and create more job opportunities. He noted that the land size and the population of the Boku area are now comparable or to exceed those of the Northeast region, making a strong case for the creation of the new region. He emphasized that the creation of the new regions and districts is intended to decentralize governance and improve security. The story goes on and on and on. So I think the main reason, right, is, according to the former president, is security related, right? So you all know the trouble that's happening up in Baku. And according to him, the creation of the new region will help ease all of those pressure and also ensure that there's some level of decentralization, right? And ensure the equitable distribution of resources. So I'm sure in the coming weeks, we'll be hearing more from his aides and campaign spokesperson on the feasibility, right?
Yeah.
He said this on the campaign trail. I didn't think he bagged it with any purposeful data to solidify the call for it. So I'm sure his aides will be doing that in the coming days. But
Yeah,
I mean,
I'd like
people are all over the place with so many hard questions about what's the feasibility, right?
The
Is
land
it
size,
necessary?
the population,
Exactly.
Upper East
So
region. Well, we'll understand them better in the coming weeks. But there's a strike brewing, and it's been brewing all weeks, last week, and on Monday, they will totally lay down their tools. Actually, August 6th, pardon me, Kolebu will totally lay down tools August 6th. That's according to Allied Health professionals. And someone might wonder, who is the Allied Health? So they're a group, and it's composed of several professional associations, including the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists, the Ghana Physiotherapy Association, and the Ghana Society of Radiographers, among 15 others. Now, this is the Kolebu chapter, and they have previously suspended outpatient services at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital on Friday, August 2. This action, they say, was taken in response to the hospital's refusal to establish an independent body to manage its operations. Now, the professionals who are currently under the management of the hospital's medical directorate believe that their affairs are not being adequately handled. They argue that a separate directorate should be established to manage their affairs. So the vice chairman of that chapter spoke to Nana Tufo on Point of View on Friday, and he was saying that...
You mean point blank?
Point blank, sorry. That they're withdrawing patient service, and imagine, this is a health facility or health facility, one of the major referral hospitals here in Accra, and to imagine that physiotherapists, lab techs laying down their tools. Already the lab technicians have laid down their tools previously, and we just got them back to work, even though they're still disgruntled that the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission is not forthcoming in the discussions to have their grievances heard. And now the allied health professionals, which they are all part of, going to lay down their tools on August 6th. I can only imagine the doom that will arise out of this. Whatever needs to be done for their grievances to be heard, I think must be done ASAP.
I mean, you listen to some of these striking groups, they always tell you that sometimes it's not even because they want to go on a strike, right? They are not even happy staying home. All they need really is a listening ear, a conversation at the table. And that is all sometimes they are asking for. And that after listening to them, the actual work of getting their grievances resolved is also taken seriously. And I think that's all the stakeholders involved. The Minister of Health, he, after assuming the role, has come under quite some pressure, right? You don't want to be him. So I think they should take the step, right? Call leadership together and genuinely listen to them. And I'm sure they can make headway. Yeah.
I'm beginning to think strikes or threatening to strike is something that government, understands and will act, because they've said this several times. It's not the first time that they've said this. So maybe when they strike, hopefully it will not come to that, though.
I mean, in the aftermath of the near nationwide shutdown, I think government
the hotels were left alone.
I think they've learned their lesson, so maybe they'll do the needful. But anyway, let me just take our viewers to some interesting, record-breaking sports news because St. Lucia's Alfred Julian storms to Olympic women's 100-meter gold in Paris. I mean, incredible story.
That. I watched that.
I was blown away by that particular race.
Because I was actually rooting for Richardson.
That's fair, right?
Because I thought she would cinch it, but she didn't have a good start.
She was the most exposed person in the race after Shelly-Ann
Fraser, dropped out.
Exactly. Excerpt of the story says, as the rain teamed down at the Stade de France, Alfred Julian, 23.
What websites are you reading from?
This is from thegraphic.com.gh.
Right.
So it goes on to say, as the rain teamed down at the Stade de France, Alfred Julian, 23, dominated the final and sealed victory by a clear margin in a national record of 10.72 seconds. The American world champion Sha'Carri Richardson took silver in 10.87, with compatriot Melissa Jefferson third with 10.92. Great Britain's Daronita finished fourth. 400ths of a second of the podium in fourth, crossing the line in 10.96. So that's the big news story, big story from the Olympics yesterday. Alfred Julian really making all the right headline. I saw a video from a video that was taken in St. Lucia where people were celebrating.
And they were watching.
I can just imagine
because that's the first Olympic medal that country has gotten.
Exactly.
Yeah. So kudos to her. Kudos to her.
We'll be doing a lot more of this during the sports segment. But like I was saying, I can just imagine that feeling when you know that you are the reason why the whole country has erupted in joy, right? There's that sense of nationalistic pride that she might have gone through. I mean, watching the race when she just, she stunned the stadium, right? Because every person expected, like you said,
Richardson,
Sha'Carri
to win.
So there was some that you could clearly tell the stadium had been stunned. Then she goes take the belt, then she rings it like, I'm the one, right? I've arrived. Incredible stuff. It'll be interesting to see if anybody can break any record set at this Olympics. I think, for example, Usain Bolt's 9.58. Like, it's sealed in gold.
It will? No. Someone will.
Maybe
not this Olympics, but someone will.
You sure? It's because these guys are so super fast. But like, you look at their numbers and they're still so far away. So like, you're wondering, will it ever happen? Probably not in our lifetime.
Oh, don't say that. You never know.
You
never know.
That boat's racing. It's anyway.
It takes him a while to catch his momentum as well.
Even for the female record, so Florence Griffiths, also an American. Of course, he's not an American, but Florence Griffiths has the world record. I think it was the 1988 Olympics where she set that record. And you wonder if we'd ever get another female athlete or 100-meter runner break that record. And
it's completely possible.
It's possible.
Anything is possible.
Under the sun.
Under the sun.
I just don't think it will happen in our lifetime. But hey, that's just me. I'm not like a soothsayer or anything.
Anything is possible in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Absolutely possible.
I guess these are the big stories you have.
Big stories trending.
Any or that's just about it?
No, that's just about it.
All right, great. So viewers, there you have it, the big news stories for today's edition of the News Review segment right here on Sunday Breakfast on ChannelOne TV. When we are back, we have a lot more in store for you, like a really exciting conversation, great talks really that will be happening here. So you just don't want to miss any bit of it, right? So just keep your dial right here on ChannelOne TV. We'll be back after the short break.